What is going on, Comic Book Familia? This is my first live show of 2025. I haven't done anything since I got back from my vacation to visit my family. Peter, how's it going?
Not bad at all, mate. Not bad at all. I've missed you, Efren. I've missed you because you've been away for a little bit, haven't you? So, yeah, I've missed seeing you.
Yeah, this is my first live show. I almost forgot what to do.
I never know what to do. I just wing it anyway. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So this is our monthly show, which we've been doing the longest. This is the one mainstay on our channels. This is the one where we do our monthly advanced orders. Peter and I, we each look at the books that are coming out, and we each make our picks. We don't tell each other what's coming up. We don't tell each other which books we're picking. But there have been a few this month that we've had the same choices.
All right.
And I did something a little bit different. When we have the same choices, I put two pictures up. That means that both of us chose it. And there's one publisher that we have picked them the most at any time. Usually, sometimes we skip right past them. But this month, there was just one publisher that both of us picked more than 5 books of theirs.
Interesting. Oh, yeah. Interesting to see what that is then.
And it's a big one, big publisher. We just always skip through them, but we picked a lot of them for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good stuff. Looking forward to getting into them. Just before we do that, our friend, just jump into the chat.
Sure.
We've got Dr. Von Hoot. Nice to see you, Von Hoot. Hope you're well, my friend. We've got Andy. Nice to see you, Andy. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Fuzzy of the Dunlop, the Ben of comic book nerds. Bonjour. Bonjour to you, Fuzzy. Fuzzy, just remind us in the chat, mate. No problem if you've already got it or not. A little while ago, I showed a Transformers comic on screen, which I think you can only get down at Battersby. And I think you said you were after a copy. Let us know if you managed to get one or not, because I might have a spare if you didn't get one. So just let us know. We've got Jack. Nice to see you, Jack. I hope you are well. Efren, just before we kick off, there's been some breaking news today. I don't know if you've seen it about Diamond Comics. Diamond.
Yes.
Yeah.
They filed Chapter 11 here. That means they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
And they're trying to, they said they say everything's going to be going on as as regularly as possible. But Chapter 11, that means they're bankrupt.
Yeah,
and they're trying to reshuffle the deck, so to speak. And we'll see what happens if there's any delay. They say there's not going to be any delays.
Yeah, I noticed in the press release they said that they were still actively working and that there was going to be no big issues. They were going to sell the company on or whatever. But still, it's pretty scary. Not good news for the comic industry, I don't think.
No.
We've got 2 Megatheron. Nice to see you. What's this going to do to keep spot pre-orders? Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. I think Fuzzy, not yet. Hit us up after this, Fuzzy. I'll send you a copy because I've got a spare copy. Charlie went down last week and managed to pick us up an extra copy. Penguin Random House will buy them eventually. Yeah. Anyway, just an interesting bit of news, Efren. Bit scary, I think.
One more thing, Fuzzy. He had some. When I was putting in one of my books, for Blast of the Past, I was thinking of Fuzzy when I was doing it. I'm going, did I put this book already? Because I can just hear him saying, you already put this book on there. So I changed it.
It's funny you say that because the book I've picked for Blast from the Past, I'm pretty sure I've had that one before.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I think you had it too. I started thinking of Fuzzy. I'm going, did I put my original choice was Camelot 3000.
Yeah, we've definitely had that one. Yeah.
We've had that one before, right?
Yeah, it was a great book, but yeah.
So I started thinking I can just hear Fuzzy in the back of my head saying, you already put that one down, man. So I changed it.
We need to keep a record. We need to keep a record somewhere.
Yeah, we should send it to Fuzzy beforehand, say, did I put this one already on here? But like I said, this is advanced orders. You can order these books now, but these books are going to be coming out in March of this year. And these advanced orders for March of 2025. Shut up and take I don't buy as many books as I used to. I just don't. I just stop. So.
I mean, we've talked about this before, but I'm trying very hard not to buy just cover buys. I buy a book if I want to read it. I'm not just buying because it's got pretty artwork. And I'm certainly trying to keep away from variant covers. That said, I've kind of got sucked into the Mark Spears comics because his artwork is just phenomenal. He's doing a lot of covers at the moment. So that's the guy who did Monsters, which we've talked about before.
Okay.
He's doing a few Spawn covers now, and now he seems to be the hot artist. So he's doing a lot of work for Dynamite. He's doing some Thundercat covers. Yeah, he just seems to be everywhere at the moment. So yeah, I'm trying to not go down the rabbit hole of buying all of his stuff.
I usually would spend in my prime when I was buying comic books between $100 to $150 a month buying comic books. I haven't bought any recent ones. I look at some every now and then. If I want to go buy them, I just go to a store and buy them. I'm getting the ultimate. Hopefully, I'm getting the Ultimate Wolverine ones.
Yeah, good.
I want to get those just like that, but I just stopped cold turkey. I just don't buy anymore. Enough's enough. But that being said, let's get going. And Peter, you are up first.
Ooh, so I'm a big fan of Thor. He's one of my favorite characters. Yeah. I was just flicking through the solicitations in that top cover with Doctor Strange on the Rainbow Bridge with Loki. I don't know what the image really jumped out. Now, I know I've just said I'm not doing cover buys anymore, but I don't know what it is. That image just looked intriguing. It's everything I like. The colors pop, and I just thought this looks really, really cool. And then I looked at the title, Doctor Strange of Asgard. I just think this has got the potential of being a really interesting book. So those that are reading Marvel comics at the moment will know that Doc Strange is no longer the Sorcerer Supreme. He handed that mantle. Well, he was tricked really into handle that mantle over to good old Victor Von Doom. During the what was that miniseries called again? Was it Blood Hunt? I can't remember.
Blood Hunt, yes.
Blood Hunt, yeah. So I don't know. I haven't read a Doctor Strange book since then. So this is kind of just hit the March solicitations, and I thought this looks really, really cool, really interesting. In the synopsis says Doctor Doom tricked Doctor Strange into surrendering the title of Sorcerer Supreme. Now Doom is ruling the world, and Stephen Strange is experience a bit of an identity crisis. Searching for purpose and maybe revenge, he travels to Asgard to see if Thor's kingdom might be looking for a Sorcerer Supreme of its own. I just think this sounds really interesting. Like I say, the cover jumped at us. I'll pick the first issue of this up just to give it a read and see what it's all about, see if it jumps out at us. And that's a Clayton, is what you call him? Clayton Crane cover at the bottom, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if you... Sorry, Efren, I don't know if you watch him on Instagram, but he quite often puts videos on Instagram of his art process, of him painting. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely mind-bogglingly good. You haven't got any commissions by him, have you?
I have some signatures from him, some books that he signed for me, but no commission. And speaking of Clayton Crane, when he signs a book, this man takes his time.
Yeah.
He doesn't scribble. He uses like different markers, like for every letter. Yeah. Depends on what you want, and you can
Crane board, don't you?
Yeah. So, but I picked this book also. That's why there's two covers on it. Like I said, when we just happen to pick the same book, I just put two covers on there.
Interesting
to read this book.
Yeah, it sounds cool, doesn't it? Interestingly, with Clayton Crane, I was reading a thing on a Facebook page that I'm on, which is all about commissioned artwork and stuff. And apparently what he does now at conventions and things, he doesn't charge you for a half figure or a bust or something like that. He charges you per minute. So he's got a set rate. I don't know what the rate is, say $100 a minute, and he'll draw for as long as you pay him, basically. So there was people showing different images. There was a great image of Doom on a throne, which cost someone $700. Wow. They said he took about 13, 14 minutes, but he charged them 7 minutes worth of work. Just a really interesting way of doing it. I've never heard of anybody doing that.
$100 a minute?
I'm making that up, Efren. I think it was, I can't remember what the actual figure was, but I think it was something like that. It was quite chunky. But yeah, great, interesting way of doing it. Fuzzy's just saying here, Dynamite are taking the mick at the moment. 6 versions of the same cover in different colours is blatantly a cash grab. Absolutely, Fuzzy. That Mumra cover is about 4 or 5 different versions of exactly the same, just with slightly different shades, which I think is a bit of a Mickey take, to be honest. Fuzzy says he likes the trade dress in this. Yeah, me too, Fuzzy. I really like it. It looks interesting. We've got Terry. Nice to see you, Terry. I hope you're well. Fuzzy, you're saying he had the same rule when he was a gigolo, charged by the minute. Yeah. No, I'm not going to go there. Like tattoo artists, yeah, that's true. That's what they do. Don't they charge for the time it takes rather than And I guess that makes sense, really, because then it's up to you how much detail you want him to put into it. Do you know what I mean? Because you'll just keep going as long as you want, I guess.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you're a well-known artist like Clayton Crane or J. Scott Campbell doesn't do it, you could make a lot of money
Oh,
at
yeah.
conventions, doing just commissions for people. And the most I would pay for a commission probably between $500 and $700.
Yeah.
$500 and $700, somewhere around there in that range.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how much I've paid. I think it's interesting because I look at some of the commissions I've had done. I think probably about maybe 300 is the most I've paid for one. But I look at some of the commissions I've had done by big artists for 300 quid. And then some of the smaller artists who charged us far less than that are much, much better.
Yeah.
It's interesting when you see the variation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one good example is Livio Ramondelli. He doesn't charge a lot for commissions, and he does a really good job.
Yeah. Alex Cormack, under £100 for a commission from Alex.
Oh, wow.
And he's stunning, You're paying for his skill. It might take 10 minutes to draw, but it took him 10 years to learn. Absolutely fuzzy. That's a great way of looking at it, mate. Great way of looking at it.
All right. I am up next. And of course, I had to pick a Daredevil book. I haven't picked one for a while. This is Daredevil number 19. He's come back from hell, basically. The reboot of Daredevil number 1 already. And he came back as a priest. And he became like a priest, but then he started remembering who he was. So, but he's, as far as I know, he's not a priest anymore, but just Daredevil, his persona is taking over. He's starting to become regularly Matt Murdock again. But this is Daredevil number 8, number 19, The Wages of Sin. For months, the sins of Daredevil have been racing to catch up with him. In this issue, they finally do, and the cost will be higher than ever as Daredevil makes a decision that will rock the Marvel universe. I don't know, they're just saying that, but we'll see what happens. The road to the next Daredevil epic starts here. It looks like somebody dies because they're burying somebody, but in the background you can see Kingpin, and Typhoid Mary. I think that might be Elektra too in there. So yeah, I've always enjoyed reading a good Daredevil book, and to me, Daredevil's has been top notch for the last 5 years. But he is my favorite character. So.
I've been enjoying this run, although to be fair, I haven't read the last 3 or 4 issues, but I have been enjoying it. I have to say, Efren, I know why you've picked this because it's a great read. I think that's a horrible cover.
It looks like John Romita Jr.
Yeah,
it is covered John Romita Jr.
Yeah. Dead Man is saying he wishes this DD arc would end soon. I mean, I've been enjoying it to a point, and then I kind of stopped picking it up because it was like every issue was he was fighting a different deadly sin, I think. And I think I nearly got to the end, but I missed a few issues. I'll have to pick it up. New Elektra Red Band book came out this last week. Didn't pick it up though. I've not read that one either. Have you read that one, Efren? The New Elektra book?
No, I haven't. I've read other Red Band books, and I just don't. I pass on them, man. They just show more gore, trying to get a more mature audience. But yeah.
Terry saying never buy another Romita Jr. cover. Yeah, he's another artist too. I used to really, really enjoy his work, but more recently he's not doing it for us, I'm afraid. I have to say.
I've met him before, and really, really nice guy though.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, just seems to really, enjoy talking to fans and stuff like that. Really nice guy.
Yeah.
Okay, you're up next.
So this is Godzilla versus the Fantastic Four. I don't know, just silly fun. Godzilla's all over the place at the moment. He's just been fighting the Justice League. This is now he's taken on the Marvel Universe. Basically, round 1 in a series of 6 one-shot throwdowns. And this one is Godzilla versus the Fantastic Four, like I say. This issue witnessed a threat never before seen as King Ghidorah descends on Earth with the power cosmic as Galactus's newest herald. Howie, Godzilla is Galactus's herald. What more do you need to know? It's going to be, let's be honest, it's going to be stupid. It's going to be silly. But that cover, Efren, just looked mint.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I'm going to be picking this up. Now, I have to be honest, whether I pick this up as single issues or wait until it's all out as one trade paperback, I'm not sure. I might end up doing that. That's what I've done with the Justice League one. I'm just waiting for that to come. But I just think this will be interesting. I think it'll be silly fun.
I just can't. I mean, Godzilla to me seems more powerful than I thought he was. Even in the DC books, when he fought Superman and he basically beat Superman, how powerful is this character, Godzilla?
Yeah.
They just make him seem like, his powers are just one of the most powerful beings in both Marvel and DC. Yeah, I can't wait to read this one too. That's why I picked that cover on the right. I mean, I thought it was so cool.
Looks cool.
It's Problem Time, Godzilla versus the Thing.
Fuzzy's saying that there's a Scotty Young cover for this. I don't think I saw that.
There is. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. That'll be cool. I've never seen a Scotty Young version of Godzilla, so that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting,
what he does with that.
I don't know if this is going to be like a what if series, or is it going to be
I can't imagine this is set in the. I mean, Craig.
Yeah,
Galactus making him, Herald of Galactus.
Yeah,
that has to be continuity. Yeah.
All right, I am up next. Speaking of Doom, since Doom is a Sorcerer Supreme, instead of Strange Academy now, it's going to be Doom Academy. Mm-hmm. And it says as if the world with Dr. Doom at the wheel isn't crazy enough, Zoe finds herself sucked into a fairy tale book, but not a modernized fairy tale book, the old kind where the kids die and scare you. But in this case, Zoe's the kid about to die. So this is a continuation, I believe, of Dr. Doom, and they're in Latveria. He's taking over, he's starting his own academy, his Doom Academy, Sorcerer Supreme. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to be reading this book. I like the kids from the academy too. When it first came out, Strange Academy. So
it looks interesting, and this One World Under Doom banner thing, it's everywhere, isn't it? There's loads of different series tied into this, so it should be interesting.
I don't think he's going to be Sorcerer Supreme forever, obviously. But I'm just wondering, is Doctor Strange going to become Sorcerer Supreme again, or are they going to find somebody new?
Yeah. Fuzzy's saying there's a book called Godzilla Heist starting in a few weeks about people who plan robberies and art heists around Godzilla attacks. That sounds interesting. I like that.
Real quick, Fuzzy, who's writing? What publisher is that coming from?
I can't remember seeing that one. Sounds interesting, but
yeah.
I mean, I think I can't imagine he'll stay Sorcerer Supreme for long. Didn't he? Wasn't he? Oh no, he wasn't termed Sorcerer Supreme. I remember the run. I think it was by Mark Waid, where he skinned his ex-girlfriend or his mother or something, and his armor was made out of kind of human skin for a period.
Wow. He's become powerful so many times throughout the years, but always his ego gets in the way.
Yeah.
I remember he took over like Beyonder's powers, and he just became Galactus. But I think his ego at the bottom is just always does him in.
Nice.
Next,
I just want to again. This is a cover that jumped out at us. I started reading The Immortal 4 by Al Ewing, and I think I got about 8 or 9 issues in, and I was enjoying it, but it's just a one that's kind of dropped off my radar again. So I kind of lost off a little bit when the Roxxon stuff happened, and I had the interesting issue where it was the Roxxon version of Thor and things like that. So I like this cover. I'm a bit of a fan of the Executioner as a character, so I thought this is a good jumping on point for us again. So I'll pick this issue up, see if I like it, and if I do like it, I'll go back and pick up the ones I've missed. So it says the Odysseus stood at a gate in Darkwood. In front of the gate stood Scourge, the Executioner, blood axe in hand, waiting for the final battle between them. Just sounds interesting. So yeah, I'll give that one a go. Fuzzy's just confirming that book's from IDW.
Thanks. All right, I am next, and here we go again. One World Under Doom. This is the Fantastic Four book, but they're calling Fantastic 3. After Ben Grimm, sorry the spoiler alert, has suffered a terrible and very public defeat at the hands of Doom, he is left lost, adrift, and more vulnerable than he has ever been in years. And when a trip to New York goes wrong and his fate suddenly turns from bad to worse, Ben has never been more vulnerable and soon takes a shocking shortcut he won't be able to undo. This is the one thing in Alicia's story you won't forget. I don't know if this picture, this cover is true, but if it is, Dr. Doom looks like he makes Ben Grimm, human again.
Yeah, but that's what Ben Grimm wants, isn't it? So surely this is a good thing.
I think he's so used to being a thing now.
Yeah,
And I think he'd rather just for him that's his natural form now. I don't think he'd rather be the Thing, and instead of Ben Grimm. But I know years and years ago, there used to be like besides his what's his name, Reed Richards' daughter, Valeria, something like that. Her and there were these other kids that were part of the Fantastic Four for a while, and they were all smart. And they gave the Thing the chance to be human once a year.
It was in the Future Foundation, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, the Future Foundation, but they gave him the ability to be human one time a year. But unbeknown to them, that prolonged his life.
Yeah.
He lived for thousands and thousands of years because he would only age that one day.
Right.
So, we'll see what happens with this storyline. But it looks like he's going to be human, but for how long, it'll be the Thing eventually again.
Sounds interesting, but Thing also has a solo title coming soon.
Yeah, that's one of my choices for this month.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I always like the Thing. You're up next.
Bit of Ghost Rider. I'm a sucker for Ghost Rider.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a sucker for some of the different variations of him as well. I'm quite liking Helverine. Daken is a spirit. I'm loving the World War II Ghost Rider that we've got knocking around at the moment as well. First appeared in the Incredible Hulk, I think. So yeah, a new mini series Spirits of Violence, which I think is a very cool twist on the words. Who or what is the Spirit of Violence? For weeks, Johnny Blaze has been on the trail of a mysterious and dangerous new entity, the Spirit of Violence. Born of an ancient curse from forgotten magics, the Spirit of Violence feeds on fear, blood, and death, and it's got a bone to pick with Ghost Rider. It just sounds interesting. So I'll definitely be giving this one a go, see what it's all about. And I think that cover looks pretty cool as well. So yeah, I'm a bit of a sucker for Ghost Rider.
Yeah, you see Helverine on the bottom right-hand side. I think the other the other Ghost Rider is Danny Ketch.
Yeah.
But whatever happened to the one that was in the car? I forgot his name.
Robbie Reyes? Not sure where he
was with the Avengers for a while, but then he kind of left them. I'm not sure what happened to his character.
Yeah, I don't know. He was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show for a while as well.
New Champions number 3. That's my choice. I just like this cover. This Vision. The new champions are thought that he named, and that didn't belong to them. And the previous champions have something to say about it. But when an old enemy threatens both teams, they'll have to work together to survive, or there might not be no champions left at all. Looks like the original champions, who was like Hercules, Black Widow, I think Beast or Iceman and Angel. I forgot who else was on there. Looks like they're going to be fighting against these new champions for the title of their name. So I just like this kind of mashup, when other teams, join other books.
So there's been a lot of different variations of the champions roster. I'm not sure if it's going to be that roster you just mentioned, because that's the original. That's the original roster effort. Ghost Rider was in that as well, I think.
Oh, that's right.
I think this is more the version of the champions where it was the young version of Nova. It was this version of Vision, Valerie Vision.
Right. Yeah.
I think Miles Morales was a member, and the Junior Cyclops.
Yeah.
Issue 1 of this came out last week, I think.
Okay.
I read it. It's an interesting book. I have to say, I don't know any of the characters in it. They're all kind of sidekicks or young versions of famous heroes. Like you've got a Ghost Rider who's got roller boots on and things like that. And there's lots of kiddie characters that I don't know. But I found the book quite enjoyable. It was a decent little read. So I'll probably read on and just see what it's all about, I think.
Yeah, I read the first one. Yeah, I didn't know it came out yet. But yeah, I plan to read it too.
Nice to see you, Anton. You're saying Iceman and Ghost Rider, original champions. Yeah.
That's true. And you're up next.
Yeah, the Absolute train keeps chugging away, doesn't it? So this is Absolute Flash number 1. Out of all the DC characters, Flash is probably my favorite DC character. I'm a bit of a old fogey. I like the Mark Waid run. I like the Jeff Jones run. I don't keep up with his modern stuff post-crisis, really. But I've thoroughly enjoyed the majority of these. Well, no, I've thoroughly enjoyed all 3 of the Absolute books that have come out so far. So I'm excited to see if this will relaunch my passion for Flash. My only worry about it is it's written by Jeff Lemire. And I have a love-hate relationship with Jeff Lemire. Some of his work I really like. Other times he just sucks the life out of us because it's so convoluted and confusing. So I'm hoping this kind of really hits the mark for me. And it basically says, without the mentor, without the family, without the Speed Force, what's left is the absolute Scarlet Speedster. So yeah, worth giving it a go, see what it's like.
I agree 100%. I just think it's how these publishers, by the big two, I mean Marvel and DC, how they keep on reinventing these characters after, we're talking about 60, 70, 80 years. They just, the recent Ultimate line came up again with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And now they're doing this, this Absolute universe with DC. I thought these were just going to be like limited series, but it looks like it's going to, still going on.
Yeah. I mean, Absolute, I mean, I think we might talk about them later on. Absolute Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are not just gimmick books, they are damn good reads, you know? So if they keep up the momentum, these could be great. Anton's just saying in the chat here, I'm very excited about what Dynamite is doing. They're doing a Zootopia comic here, I saw that, and the Darkwing Duck. Been enjoying some of the, I'm sure I've read some of the Darkwing Duck. Was there a Nega Duck as well at one point? So yeah, I've been enjoying some of that. Darkwing Duck 1 came out last year, I think, and there was like 1,000 covers for it. There's some really interesting one. We've got Canadian Survivalists. Nice to see you, but hope you're well. Dead Man, The Martian Manhunter, Absolute art looks awful. We're going to touch on that maybe later on, Terry. Yeah. Looking forward to the next 3 Absolute titles. Never read any Green Lantern or Martian Manhunter, so will be all new to you. Good stuff, Fuzzy. And that's the point, I guess, really, of these Absolute lines, to get new readers in. Fuzzy, I know you aren't particularly a big Superman fan, but I know you've been quite enjoying the Absolute Superman book, and it's kind of getting you to look at some Superman titles. So I guess that's the whole purpose of these, isn't it? To hopefully get people to look at characters maybe they wouldn't have looked at before.
I think especially with Superman, Ultimate Superman, it makes him seem more human.
Yeah.
Compared to what he is, he's so powerful in the regular DC universe. I am up next. I had to pick this cover. This cover just reminded me of days gone by when Hulk versus the Thing covers. I know it's a Red Hulk, but this is Red Hulk, and looks like this is still one world under Doom. And you can see it. I just love this cover. It's like a splash page to me. And it's Red Hulk #2. It says the greatest Thunderbolt Ross I ever known he's been captured by Dr. Doom, and he's trying to escape. And he says where Dr. Doom has imprisoned him, he's been underground so long, the powers of the Red Hulk are fading. He'll need the assistance of the misfit crew of Machine Man, Deathstroke, and General Simon Riker if he's going to outsmart and outmuscle the legions of Doom bots that are after him. I'm not even sure if the Thing is in this book. But I looked at the cover, and it just brought me back to days gone by from the 60s when Thing and Hulk used to fight.
The cover looks cool, but that list of characters on the next page, everything you've just said there, Machine Man and Deathstroke, I'm straight in. I love both of those characters. General Simon Riker. So is that General Riker from the X books?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I don't know.
I presume so. That's the only Riker, I think, unless it's number 1 from TNG, from Star Trek coming in. I don't think it's going to be Will Riker, is it? It's going to probably be right. That's interesting. That's got us interested. But Deathstroke and Machine Man, definitely there. Fuzzy's just saying he's a converted Superman fan. Wow. He's all in. Good stuff, Fuzzy. Nice. Good stuff. Wow. Connie, nice to see you, Connie. Hope you're well.
You know what? One character just I get so confused with, because there are so many reiterations of this character. There's so many of him. It's Deathstroke. Yeah. There are so many versions of this character in some comic books. He came out like I don't know how many hundreds of there were one in this one book. I'm like, damn, how can you tell who the hell this character is anymore?
Yeah.
So I don't think they did that.
The original core of the character is really interesting.
Yes.
But then they used him kind of like a Terminator, to be honest.
Yeah.
In the comics going forward. So yeah. Anton saying that Hulk cover is probably a variant cover. And And Dr. Von Hoot, Superman is and always has been freaking awesome. I'm with you, Von Hoot. I agree completely. Going to do a special show about Superman in the future, talking about my love for him and recommending some books for people to read.
Nice. You are next.
Look at that cover, man. Look at that. This has got us. I'm not a huge Bat fan. I do like Batman. I love the movies, but I wouldn't say I read his books regularly. I read some of the limited series and things like that more than his regular run. But I've got a bit of a passion point for the original run of Hush. I loved that series. I loved the writing. I loved the art style by Jim Lee. I just thought the entire Hush run was something quite special. And I hadn't appreciated they were doing a formal sequel to it. So this is the start of Hush 2, I guess you'd say, by Jeff Loeb, which worries us slightly because sometimes his writing's a bit dodgy, but with art by Jim Lee. Hush returns. So yeah, I'll definitely be reading this just to see what it's all about. But more than anything, just to enjoy that stunning artwork by Jim Lee.
Yeah, I agree. Jim Lee, his artwork is just fantastic. I picked this one too, and I put a different cover. The cover on the right is by J. Scott Campbell. So obviously there's going to be more than one cover for this book when it comes out. So I just like this cover by J. Scott Campbell. I've never seen one quite like this before. Yeah. It almost seems like he's just sketching it and he just put it together.
I love the use of color on it. Yeah, for Harley and for Ivy. Very cool. Yep. Hi, Ken. Nice to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Anton, is anyone reading Batman The Last Halloween? I'm a big fan of that line of books. I've got them all in absolute format. So I've resisted reading the single issues, Anton, and I'm going to pick it up when it comes out in hardback so I can read the entire story. I tend to find with those kind of stories, I absorb them and enjoy them more if I read them in a shorter period of time rather than reading them spread out over a year. So no, I haven't read it, but I definitely will be reading it once it's concluded. Are you reading it, Efren?
I have been reading Batman, and I read the issues when they come out. But sometimes, like when I go through my comic books that I read, then when I go back to read Batman again, I have to catch up to about 2 to 3 issues that I haven't read, and I kind of forget what I read before. I kind of agree with what you do when you wait for it to be over with, and then you just buy the whole set. You can read it one through, from the beginning to the end without having any interruptions. But sometimes I do forget what I just read, and it's been months since I read the last chapter, the last book.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Von Hoot's just saying, I love Batman, but don't ban me for this. I think Hush is just fine and quite overrated. Ban him, Efren. Have we got a ban button? Looking forward to the sequel anyway. Von Hoot, that's fine. We all like different things. And, Hush is one of those books that I've got very, very fond memories of reading. But it's a bit like when we've done those book review shows, Efren. I'm almost scared to go back and reread it because I haven't read it probably since it came out. So it might not hold up when I go back and reread it. Yeah. So I'm not sure. You might be right, Von Hoot. It might not stand the test of time. Mr. Trick, not calling. Hush. I like that. I like that, Fuzzy. Yeah, I like that. Enjoyed issue 4 of Halloween. Good stuff. Anton saying you're in for a treat. It's really, really good. Excellent. That helps. I'm looking forward to that. And Fuzzy, Batman Dark Patterns has been great. That's the one I am probably going to read, Fuzzy, because I think that's a limited series, is it? I don't think it's many issues. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that one.
I think Dr. Von Hoot doesn't like anybody who's a masked crusader besides himself.
That's right. He's got mask envy. That's mask envy, isn't it?
Okay, I am next, and here we go. I had to pick the thing. This book, it's a new series that's coming out, just 1 of 5. It says The Thing clobbers the Marvel Universe. Ben Grimm may be the strongest member of the Fantastic Four, but once upon a time, he was just a scrawny kid from Yancey Street. When an unexpected visitor from his past sends him on a search for a missing child, the Thing must unravel the mystery, even if that means becoming a wanted man. Get ready to see The Thing versus every superpowered criminal and bounty hunter in New York City. This book just seems, reading a book, I read comic books. I think a lot of us read comic books just to have fun. And I think this will be a fun series to read. And it's 5 issues long. It's a Thing. To me, the Thing is like the heart and soul of the Marvel universe. Just like to me, Nightwing is the one for myself in the DC universe. Just the Thing. I just love this character.
So I think this sounds great, Efren. They did a Thing mini-series a couple of years, maybe it's 2 years back now, where each issue was like a crossover with a different character in the MCU, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It was really good. Like you say, just a fun story, But the thing I'm noticing about this is, first off, I love the cover. I think the artwork is stunning, but it's written by Tony
Fleecs.
Who did Stray Dogs. Is that?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, he's a good writer. So this has got potential to be a really, really cool, interesting story. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Just jumping to the top.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, sorry, carry on.
I've never seen Tony Fleecs write a Marvel book that I know of. I don't know his whole history. He probably has, but I don't think I think it's the first time he's ever written The Thing.
Yeah, I don't know if he's written anything Marvel. Megatheron, that's how I am with Maximum Carnage. Do you mean not wanting to go back in case it's not as good as you remember? I think that's something I encounter all the time with movies that I think are superb, that I go back and rewatch and think, Anton, I love what they're doing with the Riddler now. He's got a company called Enigma Incorporated.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Interested, let me know in the chat what you think. That Megatheron's just confirming that, yeah. Let me know in the chat what you think. If you're reading Absolute Batman, the interesting point for that, for me, is that they're making all of his usual rogues gallery, or most of his rogues gallery, the Riddler, Catwoman, Two-Face, all that kind of stuff. He's kind of his childhood best pals. They're hanging around together and stuff like that. It's a bit of an interesting twist. I'm not sure what I think of that. Let us know in the comments what you think. Von Hoot's pointing out that he doesn't wear a mask, Efren. We got that wrong, mate. That's his.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. I got the first issue autographed by the creator of The Last Halloween and The Long Halloween at Comic-Con. Nice. Wow. That is very nice.
Oh, nice.
Very, very nice. Fuzzy, no cats in this one, hopefully. Yeah. I like Tony's writing, but I have to say, Feral, is it? Feral is not exactly blown me away. In fact, I've stopped reading it, which is a bit of a shame. I have to put that Thing miniseries on my playlist. Yeah, it sounds interesting. And I would go back and check the one that was out a couple of years ago. Can't remember what it was called, but it was Thing, 5 issues, and each issue was teamed up with someone different.
Nice.
Great pick, Efren.
You're up next. Here we go. Absolute. I said at the beginning of the show, we picked this one publisher, that we haven't picked as many books for this one publisher. If you haven't guessed by now, it's DC.
Yeah.
There's a lot of DC books on our list this month.
And it's, that is really interesting, because I strayed away from DC.
Yeah.
Well, and Marvel for a period of time. I really went into kind of the indie scene and Image Comics in particular. But DC's pulled us back in with his Absolute run. I have to say, I am absolutely loving Absolute Wonder Woman. Yep. I think out of the 3 Absolute books so far, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman's my favorite, because it's just got everything I like. I love, my mythology, that kind of stuff, and it's tying Diana's origin into that kind of stuff. She's basically, a monster fighting badass, and there's been some really interesting kind of surprises. So issue 3, I don't want to spoil it for people, but issue 3 had a bit of a shock about part of our appendages, shall we say, which I didn't see coming. So it's just a great story. And that's Pegasus. She's on there, the skeleton of Pegasus. Mm-hmm. I'm loving it. It's got stunning artwork and stunning writing as well. So in this is issue 6, the shock and origin of Diana's deadly weapons. Diana defied the will of the gods in leaving hell, and Hades, Lord of the Underworld, takes that personally. But when he interrogates her, her tales surprise him. Will it change her fate? Kicking off a 2-part guest arc from the breakout artist of... Well, actually, I liked the Cull. The Cull was very cool. I'm always a bit nervous when we've got a guest artist or a guest writer, but actually, the artwork in the Cull was phenomenal. So this has got a good opportunity to be a stunning couple of issues. Well worth reading.
I like what they've done with this character. If you haven't read issues 1 and 2, her origin has nothing to do basically with Themyscira, her island, who raises her. I went, wow, they really did a 180 for this character so far. Great book. Great pick.
Von Hoot, is saying about Absolute Batman, it's contrived as hell that all the villains are Absolute Batman buddies, but it could make for a good story. Yeah, I agree, Von Hoot. I agree. And I guess I said this to Fuzzy the other day. We were messaging each other, I think, and my only moan about Absolute Batman really is it was sold as Bruce Wayne without the money, without the gadgets, without all this kind of stuff. And it's absolutely not that. I mean, he's got bloody tanks and buildings all over and high-tech weapons. And so, yeah, it's a bit interesting. But it's still a great story, I have to say. Anton, I haven't been reading Absolute Batman, just too much stuff to read. I know that feeling, Anton. It's worth picking up at some point if you can, just to have a bit of a read and see what you think. But if you can only have time for one Absolute, for me, it's Absolute Wonder Woman, even if you're not a Wonder Woman fan like me. We're getting a few issues about the Joker coming up on Absolute Batman. That'll be interesting to see their take on him. I think down the line, Absolute Superman is the one that will be looked at most fondly. The world building they've set out could be epic. That's true as well, Fuzzy. It is a very interesting take on Superman. Good stuff.
Yep. And here we go. There we go. Absolute Batman #6 is written by Scott Snyder. This is it. Catch up to Arc 1 before the start of Arc 2. Bruce Wayne, a young man who has built his entire life on leveling up, on becoming a bigger man than both his enemies and the obstacles that stand in his way, will have to break down the Black Mask and his gang of party animals. So this is just a continuation of Absolute series. It's Absolute Batman. I have really enjoyed it. Just a younger version of Bruce Wayne. But yeah, it says here, will he be able to do this without the help of his unlikely new MI6 ally, Alfred Pennyworth? So a lot of the main characters from the Batman universe are in this series too, but it's just a 180 on the characters, and I have enjoyed it, a lot. So, but I do agree with you. Wonder Woman is the best one so far.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff.
You are next.
Yeah, we're sticking with the theme here, aren't we? Fuzzy mentioned it earlier on. Green Lantern. I am a fan of Green Lantern as a character, particularly pre-New 52. I loved the stuff Jeff Jones did on it, the Sinestro War, Darkest Night, all that kind of stuff. So I am already kind of into the Green Lantern mythology. This is written by Al Ewing. Al Ewing, when he's good, he's bloody good. So Al Ewing did Immortal Hulk, which is one of my favorite Hulk runs. He's done some really, really interesting work. So I think this could be a really, really cool book. So basically, again, it's a bit like the kind of this must be the kind of the company line for these absolute stories that they do. Without the core, without the ring, without the willpower, what's left is the absolute Green Lantern. So we'll see. This could be interesting. Von Hoot. Oh man, just realized there's no Ghost Machine titles out tomorrow. I'm going to touch on Ghost Machine in a second, Von Hoot. Darkest Night Prelude is my favorite single issue of all time. It's stunning. You're right. It's stunning. I must say that the covers are really good for Batman. They absolutely are. Yeah. Are you getting this one, Efren? This one got you interested?
It did not until you picked it. I kind of glossed through it, but just that one sentence, without the corpse, without the ring, without the willpower, what's left? I was like, that's pretty good. The way they grab you in with the wordings, But yeah, I'm looking forward to see if it's going to be Hal Jordan or somebody else. But how's he going to get his powers? So they're going to put him through hell, obviously.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens after that. And here's my next pick. I've always loved this series, Batman, Superman, World's Finest. I can't believe it's at issue number 37 already.
Yeah.
This is written by Mark Waid. It says, the waves crash. Superman and Batman have a code against killing, but does a king of Atlantis. As the Pharaonic man makes his final play for dominion over the seas, Aquaman is forced to react as a warrior, not a superhero, and the consequences will surprise you. Guest starring Swamp Thing, and featuring a very special cameo by Guy Fieri. You ever noticed he's like a...
So that's why I'm laughing. Is that guy from, was it Man vs. Food or one of those kind of things?
No, his show is, was it something drive-in?
Dinners, Drivers.
Yeah.
I knew I'd seen him from something.
So I've enjoyed this series since this come out. It's not part of the the regular DC universe. It's just team ups of Batman and Superman. Can't believe it's at issue 37. It's going on for over 2 years now.
So you've talked about this one on a few shows. I'm a big fan of Mark Waid's writing. He's one of my favorite writers. But for Christmas, I got the trade paperback of this. I got the Kingdom Come 6 issues or something.
Oh yeah, I liked it. Did you?
So I haven't read it yet. So, but I got that off my wife for Christmas because it was Kingdom Come, and I love Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
Fuzzy saying he's a mega trumper.
Yeah.
Howard. So I approve. Yeah. It's interesting some of these characters who are appearing on comic covers, because we had Nick Cage on one a little while ago. We had William Shatner on one, remember?
Oh yeah. That's right. I didn't realize that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. They're doing that. Yeah. He lives up in Sacramento too,
Right.
Not too far about, in California. Here we go, man. DC's ruling it this month.
I know, but this is purely a cover pickup, even though I said I wasn't going to do cover pickups. Yeah. This is Mark Spears, who we talked about earlier. His artwork is stunning. That said, this isn't my favorite image he's done, I think. But I'm a sucker for a Superman versus Flash race.
Yeah.
That image of Supes gives us Christopher Reeve vibes as well. Not so sure what's going on with the Flash's costume. I don't know if that's something to do with the issue or something like that. But I saw this cover and just thought, yeah, I probably need to pick this up just for the artwork alone. It's Justice League Unlimited, written by Mark Waid, Mark Spears cover. The key to the mysterious super terrorist organization Inferno begin to be revealed as the Justice League realizes it's an intergalactic threat led by one of their oldest foes. This cover has probably got absolutely nothing to do with the comic book, I would imagine. Yeah. It's just a Superman versus Flash race cover, so that's why it's on my list.
And it reminds me of those covers back from the 1960s.
Yeah.
Superman versus Flash, stuff like that. I've been reading Justice League Unlimited. I just started reading it. It's, the Justice League is back together again, and they have like the core members, 5 or 6 members. But when anything happens, when the next, catastrophe happens, there's more than the 5 or 6 members. They pick people who are perfect for the job.
Yeah.
And there's a hole in the Justice League right now too, is trying to kill them.
Okay. Because that's a similar theme to what they had in the old Justice League International cartoon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It was the Justice League was built up of people that were specific for the missions. I read, just with the relaunch of Justice League, I read the new relaunch of Aquaman yesterday. That wasn't bad. Aquaman, yeah, quite liked it.
I am here we go. We should have called this today's show just Absolute. This is Absolute Superman number 5, just a continuation of the Absolute series, written by Jason Aaron. Says, brace yourself for a heartbreaking tale of the final fate of Krypton. Kyle's life with his parents in the rural Redlands of Krypton is a happy one, but when the entire existence is suddenly threatened, the elves have no choice but to make a stand and fight for the truth. I just really enjoyed this series because Lois Lane is basically his antagonist. She's after him. And it's just been entertaining. All these Absolute series have been entertainment. Hopefully it will continue.
It's been great. It got in some, again, a bit like the Batman book, some interesting takes to his powers and things. Yes. Like his cape being, well, I'm not going to spoil it for people, but it's not your traditional cape. So, there are some interesting beats in this, I think.
And I think overall it's good for the health of the comic book industry where, like I said, even after 60, 80 years, they can still, reinvent these characters and it catches the people's imagination.
Yeah.
We'll see how long these series last.
Von Hoot's saying, sorry, cool cover, but his arms look a bit small, like long text arms.
Oh, yeah. I see his arms right there at the bottom. That's weird. I didn't notice that.
I think that's the coloring on his arms. I think his arms are around. Hard to explain. I see what you mean.
Or you ruined the book for me, Dr. Von Hoot. I'm not going to read it anymore. So.
You say Von Hoot's saying he's like a T-Rex.
Yep, Peter.
Didn't make it to the indie section this month. Well, no, I got stuck on. Why did I pick this? So this is Assorted Crisis Events number 1. I think the cover looked interesting, and I read the synopsis and just thought this sounds a little bit a bit bonkers. So, series premiere, time is having a crisis, mingling. In the red light district, you can find actual cavemen, medieval knights, and cyborg soldiers on leave from World War, whatever that is. Victorian debutantes amble their way into the cell phone stores, confused and bewildered. What is the data plan? On their way to work, bleary-eyed commuters get trapped in time loops, assaulted by alternate reality versions of themselves, and try to avoid post-apocalyptic wastelands. So I do know why I picked this now. This is part of the new, what do you call it? I can't remember what the name is. It the new one shots that have been coming out. That what was the one I read last week, which was really, really good, by Garth Ennis. The one about Hollywood. Don't know if you saw that one.
I don't believe so.
Freddy the Fix. I think this is of the same universe as the Freddy the Fix kind of books, and I just think it sounded really, really interesting. And cool, and I'm all for trying different things at the moment. That's right, Fuzzy. Ninth Circle. I think this is part of the Ninth Circle kind of line of books. They're doing some really interesting work. So this sounds weird, sounds offbeat. It's a one shot, so it'll be an easy read, hopefully worth picking up, I think, just to see what it's all about.
It looks interesting. My only, I hope it's not like so many characters thrown together. It makes it a mess.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And it's a sort of crisis events.
Yeah.
And it's just a one shot, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I am up next. I just love this cover. I'm not sure what's happening with Lois Lane, but this is Superman number 24. It says, "No mercy, big changes at Supercorp means the ascent of Mercy Graves as the new CEO. Lexus Confidant is now calling the shots and rebelling against her super boss. But what does the Man of Steel have to say about all this? Plus, Superwoman and the Justice League devise a plan to put Doomsday under lock and key forever." I'm not exactly sure how she becomes Superwoman or what the name of the character is, but sorry, spoiler alert, it looks like Lois Lane has gotten some powers. And I love the costume,
Love the costume and love the cover.
Yeah, it's by
Really,
David
really nice
Nakayama.
cover.
He's a really good artist, so.
I'm sure when we talked about Superman last month, Terry Deadman jumped in the chat and said that Lois was super powered now.
Yeah.
So yeah, looks interesting. Looks interesting.
And you're up next.
This was one of the Ninth Circle books, that I was talking about. This is another one by Garth Ennis. This is Kids. Again, I was attracted to it because of the Ninth Circle label, because I enjoyed Freddy the Fix so much. These are a weird kind of cut of a book. I don't know if you've seen them in the shops yet, Efren, but they're not your standard kind of shape for a comic. They're an interesting kind of square-bound book. But really, really cool story, the last one, so I'm hoping this will be good. I love Garth Ennis's work, I have to say. I think he's got a really unique kind of style of writing. So this is Kids. It's what they're calling a trim size. The one shot will be perfectly bound. So that's describing there, I guess. It's 8x5, 10x875. So it isn't like a comic book shape, which is interesting. So every parent thinks their kids grow up too quickly, but not like this. In one bewildering, terrifying instant, every child below the age of 1 disappears to be replaced by creatures beyond their mothers and fathers' understanding. What happened to the kids? Who are these deranged, hyper-violent adults who've taken their places? One horrified couple do their best to solve the nightmarish puzzle, but before they can find the answers they seek, they must survive the night. I just think that sounds great. It sounds really, really interesting. And Garth Ennis writes a good story. So I think I'm a big fan of one-shots because it means I haven't got to worry about remembering month on month what's happening. So more one-shot stories for me, please. This sounds interesting.
This is why I'm glad that they write titles or they give you a brief synopsis of what's going on. Just by looking at this cover, I pass right past it. I go, no, I don't want anything to do with this. I've seen it too. What's this all about? Yeah, it looks good.
Fuzzy's just saying that the book quality is really high. The Great Hand, they are, Fuzzy. They're really nice. They are really nice. Anton talking about the Supergirl cover. I love that cover. The only thing I'll give her is a pair of gloves. And he understands that she stole her powers from Zod.
Oh, wow. Man, spoiler alert. I didn't know that.
Yeah, interesting.
I just know the price on this book, the kids, is like $7.95. So it looks like it's a better material.
Yeah, they're a lovely book. They are a lovely book.
What was the other book you said you read from this before?
Freddy the Fix.
Okay.
It's just brilliant. Again, by Garth Ennis. It's about a guy in Hollywood who kind of, when the celebrities in Hollywood get into difficulty, he's there to kind of get them out of difficulty. But the kind of the twist is that all of the celebrities are werewolves and vampires and monsters.
Oh, wow.
And things like that. It's a really interesting book.
This is The Mummy. Both Peter and I chose this book. This is Universal Studios, The Mummy #1, written by Faith Aaron Hicks. It's a miniseries premiere. It says here, the nameless city presents a stunning new vision of the seminal horror like you've never seen before. Helen Grosvenor is a woman born to two worlds, belonging in neither, forever haunted by a cursed encounter as a child. When unknown voices bring her back to an Egyptian dig site from her past, Helen will unknowingly play an unexpected role in the rise of a monster known only as the Mummy. This is issue #1. This is a continuing series of the monsters. There's been Frankenstein, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon. And has there been werewolf yet? I don't know. I don't think so.
It's certainly not been out yet. I don't think. Not a werewolf one yet.
Yeah, this is the Mummy, and this is a Joshua Middleton variant on the left, and I chose the blank cover on the right. So I've been really enjoying this one, especially the Frankenstein one was really good to me, and the Creature from the Black Lagoon was so for me. But this is a continuing series, and this is the next monster up is the Mummy.
Yeah, I'll be reading this. I will be reading this. I have to say I've found them hit and miss so far. Sometimes I enjoy them. Sometimes they've been a bit okay. But I am looking forward to the Mummy. It's a while since I've read a good Mummy story, so this should be interesting.
That book that I got from you at Comic-Con, that had to do with this, right? When I sent you that book with all the monsters on the cover?
Yeah.
Right?
That was,
okay, yeah. Okay. This is, I picked Geiger. I've been enjoying this series, Geiger, and it's Geiger #12. This is your top secret full cover reveal January 8th, and I have the cover right here. I'm not sure what was so top secret about it, but this was it. This is it. I thought this is glow in the dark or something, but as far as I can tell, this was the top secret cover. I'm not
One
sure.
world under Doom. That's what it is. He's a Doom bot.
That does look like Doom, huh? Yeah. It says here, the first year of the hit ongoing Geiger series ends with a nuclear showdown as Geiger fails to take control of his explosive power surges. He must finally face the other glowing man, but his radioactive counterpart has a secret weapon that could destroy everything. Plus, they have Junkyard Joe and Nate the Nuclear Knight continue to uncover the secrets behind the unknown war. I really have enjoyed this series, Geiger, and it's continuing. I'm not sure if this is the last issue of this chapter, or is it going to keep on going on after this? But this is issue #12.
I would hope it continues on. Fuzzy's just saying it's a female glowing woman.
Oh, okay.
And it's not this cover that's a secret. It was another cover that was a secret. Okay. The other cover has female glowing person on it.
Okay. I thought this was a secret cover, but it's not.
I'm absolutely loving Geiger. I've just read. Well, I've been reading this relaunch. I'm a couple of issues behind, I think, but I've been rereading this relaunch. But I've just finished reading Geiger Volume 1 of the original series. Absolutely loved it. I think Geiger is one of my favorite books at the moment.
Agree.
So yeah, loving this.
Yep.
Again, just another one that's interesting for us. I like trying to find a few books that I've not heard of before. We're taking everyone down with us. I think it sounded pretty different. It's got the synopsis here says a mad scientist father is killed by the world's greatest spy. 13-year-old Annalise is left all alone in the world, sort of. Her dead dad's robot bodyguard is following her around for some reason. Now Annalise has a choice: try to lead a normal life for the first time ever, or seek revenge and maybe overthrow the world in the process. It's a mini-series, 6 issues, robots involved. It sounded intriguing to us, and I loved the cover. So I'm going to pick up the first couple of issues of this and give it a go and see what it's like. I tend to give things 3 issues before I decide whether I'm going to stick with it or not. I don't know. It sounded cool. So yeah, I'll give this one a go.
Yeah, I love the cover.
Yeah.
So, yep, we'll see how it goes.
Fuzzy saying he fancies this one as well.
Yeah. My next choice is Nightwing number 124. Says, to save the lives of one of Bloodhaven's gangs, Nightwing must stage a heist on Spirit Solutions, but revelations of the corporation's true sinister nature threaten to shatter his very reality. I just really, like I said before, The Thing to me is the heart and soul of the Marvel universe, and Nightwing is, the heart and soul it took for myself of the DC universe. And whenever they put a dog or an animal on the front cover, I'm a sucker for those kind of books. So that's the main reason I chose this one, because I just like the dog on this cover.
So I'm not reading Nightwing at the moment. I used to read Nightwing, but so is the dog relative? Is the dog featuring in the comic or anything?
Yes,
do you know?
The dog's featured in the comic.
Okay.
And I believe it's a 3-legged dog. Him and Batgirl adopted this dog, and it just it joins him every now and then in an adventure or something like that. Nightwing inherited Alfred Pennyworth's fortune.
Yeah.
He's quite rich now, So yeah, but he's been using it, trying to save Bloodhaven. Europe.
I like a bit of religious horror and whatnot. This cover jumped out at us. Then I spotted it was written by Mark Miller. I like Mark Miller's work. He does some really, really interesting stuff. This is Vatican City. The world has been overrun by a vampire apocalypse. Every man, woman, and child dead, except for the 2,000 tourists safe behind the walls and holy relics of Vatican City. But as vampires gather in their millions outside, how long can they hold out? Because the monsters can't wait forever. 3-issue miniseries. This says Netflix series all over to me, or movie. It sounds really, really interesting. I love a vampire tale. I love Mark Miller's writing. I think he's a very clever writer. And this sounds really cool.
There are so many books with vampires or evil entities. You think they wouldn't come up with anything new, but they keep on coming up with new things. So I can't wait to read this book too. So it looks interesting.
Yeah. Mark Miller doing the Vatican, that's going to be insanely dark. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Europe again. I think the rest of the books are yours. Peter and I, when we choose books, there's no limit of books we can choose. I believe the remaining books are yours, Peter, so I'm just going to listen.
Sure. This is In Bloom, 4 of 5. Issue 1 and 2 of this were phenomenal. Written by Michael Conrad with the amazing art from John Pearson, who's a lovely, lovely guy. We met him at Thought Bubble. This is just a really, really intriguing story. So issue 1 tells the tale really of the bloom, which is basically people sprouting growths and things and gaining powers or deformities, but people like it. So there's a really cool scene in issue 1 where this guy just starts erupting lumps on his back and stuff, and he's over the moon because it's happening to him. It's been really interesting so far. So yeah, I'm just going to continue with this series, see what it's all about, even if it's just for the artwork.
One thing I like, though, we do this show on a monthly basis. I completely missed this series. I haven't even read the first one yet. You might have chosen it previously, but I just never read it. So it looks interesting.
Yeah, worth a read.
Europe.
So this is by Dan Panacea. I'll get his name wrong. That's why I'm hesitating. Dan Panacea, I think. The guy who did Ever After, the kind of the Alice in Wonderland 2 series. Again, liked the cover for this, but it's based on The Lost Boy, which I really like the story of. So years after Peter Pan's adventures with Wendy, the boy who wouldn't grow up is now the last one in Neverland, still clinging to his adventurous youth. Meanwhile, in London, Wendy also yearns for childhood and its freedom from the responsibilities as she rails against the transition to adulthood. Now, he kind of reinvigorated and reinvented Alice in Wonderland with these 2 stories. Can't remember what the series were called. Is it called Ever After or Alice Ever After or Alice Down the Looking Well or something? I can't remember. But if he does the same kind of thing for this, I think it'll be really, really interesting. So, and his work is stunning. His writing's normally very good, and his artwork's very, very cool as well. So worth a read.
I remember that book, Alice. I think it was called Alice Ever After. I remember reading the first episode of that one. Yeah, and I think the last book is yours, Peter. Yep.
Okay. Here is out. Dynamite did Thundercats. And it's fair to say myself and a few of the guys in the chat were rather disappointed with the Thundercat run. The writing wasn't the best, the artwork wasn't the best, and they put a tash on Tigra, which really upset us. So I've kind of walked away from that series. But then this is now being announced, and this is Thundercats Lost. Cover artwork there by good old Mark Bagley. Written by Ed Bryson, but it's been kind of touted as the X-Force version of Thundercats, so a more gritty version. These are all characters that I remember, or the majority of them I remember very well from the animated Thundercats Ho, the movie. So you've got Lynxo, Bengal, Pumaira, all those kind of characters. I'm hoping that this is just a Thundercat book that I can enjoy and get behind and just ignore the main title.
Are you still reading the main title, or did you just stop?
I ejected. It was that bad, Efren. I couldn't even bring myself to. I was getting angry, which is ridiculous. Wow. I was getting angry reading it at what they were doing to my beloved characters. So yeah, I bailed on that.
That's too bad. I mean, I've done that a couple of times when they had the Hulk, that spaceship Hulk one. I can't read this anymore. I don't get it, so I just put it down. But yeah, it's a shame, But yeah, hopefully this will be a good series. I've never read a Thundercats book ever.
Yeah. Von Hoot, he was the same as me. He was looking forward to the original Thundercats run, and it wasn't good. You'll have to hear some bloody spectacular things to give a new Thundercats a shot. Fuzzy's just saying didn't really enjoy Alice Ever After. Didn't get into it at all. I think we read it on the Killer Comic Show, Fuzzy, and it was okay. I don't think I gushed quite as much as some of the other guys, but it was okay. But I'm a fan of Peter Pan, so I'll give that one a go. So yeah, hoping that this is decent. But like Von Hood says, it's going to have to work hard to get us back onto Thundercats.
And that is the last of our advanced orders, but we are not done. We are continuing, and nope, no way. These are books that they're being offered this month. Also, they could be fantastic books. As far as we know, we haven't read them, but at first glance, basically, we're saying, no, this book is not for me. You're up first.
So we've spent a lot of time talking about Absolute DC and all that kind of stuff. And exactly as you say, Efren, this might be brilliant. But I'm thinking there's a lot of Absolute titles coming out, and I cannot read everything. I don't have physically the time to read everything. Martian Manhunt as a character that's never particularly interested us.
Yeah.
I've tried reading him in a few different series that he's had over the years in Justice League, and he just never does anything for us, really. When this was announced, I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. I'll see what it's like. And then I saw the cover, and it just turned us off even more. And I thought, no, that's just not for. It's just not for me. So I think I'll not read this one until I hear feedback from people. And if people come back and say it's the best thing since sliced bread and it's great and all the rest of it, I'll pick it up once it's concluded, because it's only a six issue on this. But at the moment, this is the one I'll be avoiding, I'm afraid.
I believe the Martian Manhunter in the regular DC universe played a detective. So I think
did, John.
Yeah. So I think maybe that's why they looks like a detective, but he's carrying a gun.
Yeah.
With him, But yeah, I looked at this cover. I went, dang, I don't know. But that's just a cover, Yeah. So, but say it could be the greatest book ever, And my pick, and the reason I picked this one, Web of Spider-Verse #1. There have been so many Spider-Verse storylines now, and this is Web of Spider-Verse New Blood. I just went, again. When are they going to give this a rest? I mean, they've had Venomverse. I think they've had Carnageverse, and I like when Spider-Verse first came out. Don't get me wrong, with all these introductions of these new Spider-Man, but another one. So this is the war of the multiverses coming. Spider-Man and his spider compatriots across the Spider-Verse are the guardians of the web of life and destiny, but they are heading for a confrontation with the other arachnid multiverse of the symbiote variety when they come into conflict with the Venomverse. So I don't know. I just think so much of this Spider-Verse and Venomverse now, it gets confusing.
overkill.
It's going to be introducing new characters again. Yeah.
It's overkill, but it sells toys and comics, I guess. It's not for me. I have to say, I'll be avoiding this one as well. Anton, the up and coming Herculoids book looks really good. Yeah, Herculoids isn't a series that I'm that familiar with. I remember seeing the cartoon, but I will pick it up and give it a go. And sorry, Fuzzy, I need to hear from an actual Martian before I buy the Martian Manhunter book. Yeah. These Spider-Verse books are very youngster orientated. They're not for us, really. I think that's true. Yeah.
There's one character that the last sentence is, there's a Spider Hulk, which has been done before.
Seen that before.
We'll just see what they do with this character. Yeah, but I don't think I'm not going to read this one, so we'll pass this one.
Yeah.
And comic book review. I think I might have missed one, but anyways, these are books that we are reading, and we're just gonna give you our review of the books. And Peter, you are first. You just read this book.
So like I described earlier, quite often I'll not jump in on new series. I'll hold off and I'll buy the hardback book when it's finished, particularly if it's only 8 issues or something like that. Now, 8 Billion Genies is a series that got a lot of excitement and a lot of heat.
Yeah.
When it first came out, everybody was absolutely gushing over it. The basic premise is one day everybody wakes up and they've got their own genie. So everybody on Earth, 8 billion people, has a genie with one wish. But as the series went on, people started to stop talking about it, and people started to be a little bit negative. And I heard a lot of people saying that it dropped the ball halfway through and it got boring and stuff like that. So I wasn't in a rush to read it. So this is a couple of years old now, I think. Yeah. Anyway, over Christmas period, sat down, read all 8 issues in the hardback volume, and I absolutely loved every single page of this. It's just such an intriguing story. It's exactly what I like, in that it's got a start, middle, and end. So you get a conclusion to this, which is always good for me. It does set up the story and the rules of the universe, I guess, for the first 3 or 4 issues. So I can understand why people started to lose faith with it, because there's an awful lot of the genies having to explain to the reader what can and can't be done with the rules and the wishes and this kind of stuff. But then the latter half of it is the effects of everybody having had the wish and what that's done to the world and the universe. And then it keeps jumping in time until you get to basically the last genie on Earth and what the wish for at the end of what the last wish on Earth is. And that's like hundreds and hundreds of years in the future or something like that. It was just great. The artwork was good. The story was engaging. I loved the characters. So much so that, like I sometimes do, if I really enjoy a story after I've read it, I'll go back and buy copies of the first issue. And I've got about 5 or 6 copies of this now to get graded and things, because it's a story that I love. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would give it a go if you can. You can get the trade paperback for relatively cheap, like a £10 or whatever. So it's worth checking out, I think.
I remember reading this book when it first came out, and I agree with some people said, like the first 3 issues or 4 issues were really good. Then I started losing interest in it, and I finished it. I don't even remember how it ended. When we're off the air, I'm going to ask you how it ended, Peter. I didn't remember there was one left. I know that they were like humans and genies. They were dying off throughout the series.
Yeah.
But yeah, I read it the first 3 or 4 issues. I loved it. I just don't remember reading the rest of it.
Yeah.
But
I think for me, it's a one that you should read in a couple of sittings. Yeah. It's not a one to read over 8 months, issue by issue. Do you know what I mean? You lose interest, I guess.
My book review is a DC book. Surprise. This is the second chapter of it, so to speak, and it's vampires, DC versus vampires. I thought it was going to be hokey when it first came out. This is like the second chapter of it, but I've been loving it. It's been really good. I highly recommend it. A lot of the superheroes at the beginning, the first chapter of this, became vampires, and a lot of them died. Batman was gone basically after like the first or second issue. Superman became a vampire. Wonder Woman became a vampire. Batgirl became a vampire. And the remaining humans are fighting for survival of Earth. I know it's another vampire book, but it's really interesting and I love it. I really have enjoyed it. The cover on the right, you see the vampire Wonder Woman fighting against Alfred. Okay, and he's like he's a human, but he's like, leading the, helping out the humans, try to regain Earth, and he becomes a superhero.
Yeah.
And guess what superhero he would become?
Batman?
No, it's one you think, I go, wow, it makes perfect sense. I'll give you a hint, it's going to give it away. Sorry, any spoilers, but this just happened. Because Wonder Woman, the vampire Wonder Woman, is kicking his ass, because he's only human. And then at the end, she throws him into this room, and there's a bunch of artifacts in there, and he's looking for a specific box. And once he became a superhero, I go, you know what? It makes perfect sense. He becomes a Green Lantern.
Okay.
I go, wow, that fits for his character. I thought it was well done. So he becomes a superhero, and it's still ongoing series as we speak. And Damian Wayne becomes a vampire, but he's still, Damian Wayne in the regular books, he's always like against the authority of everything, so he's actually helping out the humans.
Nice.
He's trying to lead the way. And there's a child between Mr. Miracle and Big Bertha, I believe, or Barda, and that's like the savior of the world. So the vampires and the humans are after this child right now.
So I've read series 1 of this, but I don't think I've got this one yet, but I will pick it up.
Yeah. I have really enjoyed it. Yeah.
If it weren't for your love of sunshine, I would swear Efren is a vampire. He's just a little too into it.
I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah. That's not the first time that Alfred's been converted into being a superhero. So
yeah.
During the Deceased run, I don't know if you've read the most recent one of them, War of the Dark Gods, Batman gets killed in front of him, or Nightwing gets killed in front of him or something. And he's fighting, can't remember which cosmic entity, might have been Darkseid, and he gets the powers of the Spectre.
Okay.
And it's really, really interesting. It's a cool.
What's the series called?
Deceased, War of the Dead Gods, I think it is.
Huh. I've never heard of it. Yeah, but this one, I think it made perfect sense that he would become a Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And I think
cool
we have one more segment, Back to the Past. Here's where we each pick one book, just a cover that we liked from the past, or a good storyline.
Fuzzy, just when we put the covers up, Fuzzy, just let us know if we've had these ones before, because I think I've had this one before. Fuzzy will know.
It took me hours just to do that one little video, just to let everybody know how much I care about this show. But this is Back to the Past, where Peter and I, we just choose one comic book cover that we've liked. Like I said at the beginning of the show, originally I had picked Camelot 3000, but then I started thinking, did I pick this book already? Then I started thinking of Fuzzy, and I could just hear him say, you already picked this cover. So I changed it. But Peter, you're up first. I think it's a repeat for you, speaking of that.
So this is Flash 1, 2, 3. I just love this classic cover. Yeah. This is obviously the Jay Garrick Flash and the Barry Allen Flash. It's not a comic I've got in my collection, Efren, but it's a one that I think I definitely want. Cover price of 10 cents. Look at that, man. Incredible. First appearance of Earth 2 Golden Age Flash Jay Garrick in the Silver Age. And it's just one of those absolute classic covers that's been homaged to death, I think. But I love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, this is on my wish list of books to pick up. I don't really buy a lot of DC vintage books, but I'm thinking I might start a bit of a Flash collection.
Do you know what the price is for this, more or less?
I don't think it's bad. I don't think this is a horrendously pricey book. If you're looking at if you want to do a Flash run and you're wanting some of the DC Showcase, the first appearance of Barry Allen and stuff like that, you're talking ridiculous amounts of money. But I don't think this one's that bad. I'd want this one, and I'd want the first appearance of Wally West as well.
When you buy older books, and to me, I never thought about this, but I guess anything below, okay, there you go. I could have sworn I've seen it before somewhere. But when you buy a CGC book, I usually try to go at least 3.0 or higher. To me, 2.0 or 1.0, which are perfectly fine books, but just for my preference, I would rather get a book that's at least a 3.0.
Yeah.
It is look nicer. You know.
For so I understand what you mean, but for some of these earlier, pricier books, I'll take whatever I can get. Yeah. I'm a bit of a snob in terms of I don't want a purple label.
Yes.
Not that I know why. That's just for me. It's something in my
agree.
head.
It's a disappointment. I've gotten a book that I sent in and it came back a purple label. I'm like, dang it. So if you came across this book ungraded and the person who's selling it says this has never been touched, would you still buy it, or would you want
for a decent price? I would for a decent price. Yeah, I mean that's what I did with my Journey into Mystery 83. Okay. And that came back and bit us on the bum because, as you know, it came back as a conserved grade. Mm-hmm. But I've learned to live with that because it's such a pricey book. At some point, I think, knowing myself, at some point I'll get another Journey into Mystery 83, and then sell that one on. I would imagine, because that's my Grail comic. That's my favorite character. So I would imagine I'll look to upgrade that one at some point.
So my choice, like I said, I really had chosen Camelot 3000, but then Fuzzy got in my head. I go, did I pick this book already? I wasn't going to go back on our previous videos and look to see if I didn't go that far, but I changed it. So I didn't pick Camelot 3000. This book is from a writer that Peter and we actually had on our channels a couple months ago, and it's Spencer and Locke by David Pepose. I love this series. I highly recommend it. Spencer and Locke is a neo-noir psychological thriller comic book written by David Pepose. Basically, it's Calvin and Hobbes as an adult. Okay, he's a detective, and his he has like a stuffed animal who he thinks is alive, and it helps him solve crimes. And it's very mature reading. It's like you would imagine Calvin and Hobbes if he had grown up and Hobbes was still around. So I really highly recommend this book. He's supposed to be coming out with a third chapter of this book, but he hasn't yet. And there's chapters 1 and 2, and I really have enjoyed this book. And I just really enjoyed this cover too. So this is my choice for Batman.
Not a series I've read. I have to say, not a series I've read. I know when we spoke to him about it, it sounded really intriguing, and I'm sure the boys over on the Nerd Herd at some point did a review of this.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so this is definitely a one I'm thinking I would look at. Fuzzy saying he's intrigued by this. So yeah, it sounds interesting, doesn't it, Fuzzy? Von Hoot looked it up. Full fair market value for the Flash 123 on a CGC 5.0. See, I think that's really reasonable. That's for a key book like that. I guess technically, you see, it's not a first appearance of anybody, is it?
No, but it's a great cover.
Yeah, so yeah, that's an interesting one. Dead Man, internal art is the same with the Manhunter. Yeah, avoiding Terry.
Yeah, when I was reading this book, I kept on thinking, wait a minute, is this cat alive or not? I kept on getting confused. He was so integrated into the book.
Yeah.
But then there's this one scene with this waitress, I like ask him, what about the stuffed animal? And he gets pissed off. Yeah. To him, it's alive. So
sounds interesting. Sounds really interesting.
That is it, Peter. But you want to talk about any? Oh, sorry, Read of the Week. We have one more. I forgot about that. This is a book that's coming out next week. So Read of the Week for January 22nd. You're up for. Here you go.
Well, I talked about it earlier. This is In Bloom number 2. So really looking forward to this. The first issue blew us away. It was just intriguing. Most people will have read In Bloom now, I would imagine. So it's not a spoiler as such, but that thing in the background with the smoke coming out of it, Efren, I can't remember what the phrasing they use is, but that's the elderly recycling point. So basically, there's a scene in the first issue where there's a family walking the very compass mentis granny to the recycling point, thanking her for her life and her efforts, and then she gets put in to the recycling point and basically dissolved in acid to keep the population down and whatnot. So it's really dark and interesting. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be great.
No, yeah, definitely. I completely missed this book. I'm going to definitely look at it and read it. And mine is Dr. Doom and Rocket Raccoon. This is by J. Michael Straczynski. He's doing team-ups. I don't think that have ever happened before. Says first up is Doctor Doom and Rocket, drawn by Will Robson. Doctor Doom does the one thing he never wants to do: ask for a favor. What awaits Rocket in Latveria? Mischief, miscommunication, and an emotional journey across space and time in the mighty Marvel way. To me, Rocket Raccoon is one of the best characters around. The way he got like reinvented because of the movies, and everybody started knowing more about him. And can't wait to read this book and see what he has up his hand or up his paw, against Doctor Doom, So that's
well, isn't there? I'm just noticing there's grenades all over, isn't there? Is that a grenade on the floor next to Doom's?
Oh, there is. I know that. He's got something behind his hand too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can never tell with Rocket, So yeah.
Oh, right. So Rocket's got a blue grenade and a blue detonator in his hand. Doom's got a red detonator and there's a red gun under the table.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I gotta look at these covers a little bit better. They don't trust each other, that's for sure. Yeah. So hopefully it's a good read. I think these are just one shots. So
it'll be fun. And J. Michael Scrines, I can never say his name, is a superb writer. So that should be cool.
And that's all, folks. Peter, you have a slide you want to show, though, right?
Yeah, just a bit of self-promotion, if you don't mind, Efren. So first of all, obviously, these are our channels. So Efren's channel, Passpoint Comics. Please, if you're not subscribed, if you're watching on the rewind, please do head over to Passpoint Comics. Some great content there, so make sure you check that out. My channel's Triple J Comics. Also got One Good Scare Show, which is all of your horror news and reviews. We've got some good videos on the channel already. This Friday, we've got our live show, if Mr. Keegan's back from his Jolly Hollies. So that will be happening on Friday. Thursday's Killer Comic Show. We've had a little bit of a hiatus. I'm not sure if we're back on this Thursday or not, but keep your eyes open for the socials for that. I've now joined the team over on the Geek Week podcast. So that will be going live from my channel, from Jacob's channel and Superstar's channel every Sunday night at 9:30 for all your geeky toy news and pop culture stuff. But like I say, it goes live on all of our channels. So please do try and check that out. All my usual stuff, got all my different videos. My wife's out tomorrow at the theatre, which I wasn't expecting. So I might do a bit of an impromptu live show tomorrow night and just talk about some of the stuff I've been reading over the last few weeks and a bit of pop culture stuff. So see what happens there. This Friday's video is Comic Book Clunkers, where I'm looking at what I think are some of the worst X-Men related books of all time. And then next Tuesday, for Triple J Tuesdays, myself, Efren, and James will be doing our year in review one, and we're looking at James Keegan's year of birth, 1995. Christ, he's just a child, isn't he? He's just a wee bairn, Efren. He's a wee bairn. Yeah. So we'll be looking at all the movies, cartoons, comics, toys, video games that were released in 1995. I'm hoping we'll have Fuzzy in the chat doing his Fuzzy fact section for that for as well. So lots of stuff going on in that one. That one should be a fun show.
Hopefully, James will have pictures of himself when he was a kid.
I hope so. Yeah. He looks the same. I would imagine he just looks the same.
But that is the end of our show. We do this on a monthly basis. Like I said, we do advance orders. So next advance orders will be books coming out in April. Gosh, April already. So, but it'll be, Peter will be hosting this one. Yeah.
2025, Efren, can you believe it? Craigie.
That's crazy. Yeah. But until next time, everybody, I would say if you like what you see, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button on both our channels. Be safe. Take care. Until next time, everybody. Bye.